All right, guys, if we could put a tracker on some of these square bodies, which I believe we can, when we get back, I'm gonna ask Christian. I want to put a air tag in one of these things so you guys can see how many spots a truck goes when we do one of our processes. We're at one of our muffler shops that we've been dealing with for, I don't know, 20 plus years. One of two that we use on a very regular basis. The other one's a little further away and a little more booked up. So this truck's getting exhaust. It's already been inside our shop. It's already been down to our service shop. It's already been down to Daniel and Brian. It's still got to go to the body shop, which is one of our feared spots to have to send anything because it needs this area right here touched up. It's not rusty, but before we do anything, I don't mind showing you guys, it's just chipped up. It's where they had some rock guard and it chipped up. It's still got to go to the other service shop for oil change and inspection and safety check. I still got to have my uncle work on the inside of it because, as you can see, that tape on those windows is not factory. That's holding the window up. The other window's down and disassembled. So this was a little bit of a cold ride today to come across town to bring it to the exhaust shop. And there's so many steps to these trucks. It'll have to go to the stereo shop. It'll have to go to our detail shop. It's still got a lot of steps involved to bring a truck to what we consider a decent usable level. And the thing I impress upon this, and the reason I want to do this video, is when we're buying these trucks from people, some of them are more projects than others, some of them are more done than others. The common statement always is, and we're very upfront when we tell somebody we're getting one of these trucks, we're a business, we have shops, just be honest. Tell us what's going on. And I'm not knocking this or any other truck. I don't ever want anybody to take offense. It's us. I'm never going to call the previous owner and bitch or complain or whine. That's not what I do. We get that every day ourselves. We already know how that goes. We love to have positive feedback, but you know, with an older truck, things do happen. But we try to do our best to make sure, and again, a lot of times you'll say currently and stuff like that. Those windows are working. When we went to get this truck from the guy, of course he was across the country, and it was 0 or just below 0, I think is what his text said. And he said one of the windows stopped working. He said, I've got a part, I'll put it in the truck. Well, it turned out it wasn't the right part. That's okay, no big deal. We've got the parts in stock to take care of these problems. But it also had a lock that wasn't working. It had a couple of lock actuators that weren't working. There were some other things, so we had to deal with that anyway. We still got to decide, you know, tires, wheels, height of lift, other things that we may or may not do. We're gonna go ahead and knock the exhaust out because it has no tailpipes. That's okay for some people. We like to try to finish them off a little better, and this one's kind of loud and echoey in the cab, being a crew cab. So we're gonna do some flow masters, some turned out exhaust, a couple other little things that we want to do. But it's very hard. Well, it's already got a spray and liner. Again, I didn't get a chance to look at this truck extremely close when it came in. Other than getting under it and making sure, first thing right off, making sure the undercarriage was good. Oh yeah, it's got a gooseneck ball too, which is very unusual to see in an older truck. Goosenecks were not super popular, even though there were fifth wheels. I don't know when gooseneck came along, but it wasn't super popular. But people added it, especially if they have a farm and a hay trailer or horse trailer or something like that. Some guys use these. Heck, my uncle's dually, I don't think we ever did a video about it, but he's offered a few times for us to, and we ought to. And next time he drives it in, it's a newer front end, crew cab long bed dually that he's had for probably 20 years, I guess. It was actually, if memory serves me right, Dale Earnhardt's crew chief vehicle or whatever they used at the time for moving vehicles around. It's black, of course, so it's got some pretty good provenance. I don't remember what the exact story was. We'll let him tell it. But so these trucks, a lot of cases, crew cabs, were used for carrying race cars, and all the way back into the NASCAR days, which is pretty cool because there wasn't anything else that you could tow with and carry 6 people. Most time these trucks were always 6 passenger capacity, even though some of them had a choo-choo custom interior. Then they had a console, which was ugly to say the least. But this is a 468 in this truck, just because I hadn't had time to go, oh, another step this one's got to have. Obviously the hood doesn't pop real easy, so it's got the pop, 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 which I'm guilty of doing myself, but it's got some dents here, which we will have addressed. We'll be able to do this paintless. My guy will come in and take care of that to where we don't have to do any paint work. It's hard to see them, but if you catch the light right, you do see them. But that's a 468 under the hood with air conditioning. I have the dyno sheet on this truck pushing right at 500 horsepower, so it's not a monster, but it's plenty of horsepower for one of these trucks, far more than what it had from the factory. Probably will also have to end up at Kenny's at some point to do some little finishing touches on some things. but he's down under the weather a little bit currently. So we're a little backlogged on that style stage of things too. Another step. Oh, there's where those dents came from, right there. Another step that it's already had. The headliner was sagging, and with my spiky hair, I'm a good headliner tester because it rubs my head. So another step it made was to the upholstery shop already to have the headliner replaced and taken care of, which is also not an easy task because if you damage that board, then you got to buy a whole board and a whole cover, and that's not fun either. So another step this truck's already had. Again, on any of these vehicles, guys, we can stop at any point. The more we spend, the more the trucks cost, the more things take. But you know, we like getting them as right as possible. So when I tell you, hey, here's one that's just starting, if you're a body guy, if you're a motor guy, if you're just a gearhead in general and you like fixing things up, the price point is great at that time. But the more spots we go, the more time we take, and that's why I'd like you guys to see all the places this truck goes, or any of the Squarebodies go, to get to their final stages. And in doing that, we don't mind. We love it. It gives us some seat time. Over the last year, of the several hundred of these trucks that have come and gone, or however many it's been, especially ones we did for customers, just, you know, I'll use the last month in general. We had one in driving it, noticed a little puddle. I think it was Christian. He was like, man, it's some antifreeze coming out, JW. Okay. Truck was already sold, but it was here because they wanted to add steps and some shocks and some other things. And in the meantime, while it was moving around, the water pump went bad. We put a water pump on. Did I call the customer? No. Another one started running funny, just out of the blue. We don't know why, but it started running like crazy. And I hope you guys can hear okay, because it's no microphones currently. But it started running bad. Turns out the switcher valve was sucking air, so it was actually creating like a fuel pump issue. We had another one that the fuel pump went bad. Mechanical fuel pump, they go bad. We had to replace that. And again, some cases I told the customer, some cases I didn't. It was just, we just did it, you know, it was whatever. Now, if we ran into something like something major took place, it'd be a different situation. But had a couple of them, light bulbs went out, had a couple of them that, you know, had some squeaky brakes. We had to replace a caliper, or a caliper stuck. Things do happen. These are 30, 40, 50-year-old trucks. And the more they're driven, the more things you do find and see. So we like moving them around. We like driving them. Yes, like Christian says, sometimes they end up at my house in my garage. Yeah, sometimes they disappear for a little while until I'm done with them. But that's just the fun of having them around, and you can't replace them. Crew cab, 76 model, K20. Probably, I think, a 1 year that you could even get a single rear wheel 3/4 ton. I haven't done the exact research, but I know it's pretty rare. It's a very unusual truck. But it's a great driver. I just put 20 miles on it coming over here, I guess, or, you know, maybe 15. Ran out great. I had to make a couple stops, a little loop. Did good, ran great, sounds amazing. It'll sound even better when the exhaust is on it. And it's just one of the stages of the process of how things go and how things take place. Anyway, hope you guys had a good Christmas, good holiday. New Year's right around the corner. We'll be getting you guys a little bit more. We're playing catch up, serious catch up, because it's the busiest time of the year for us between Christmas and New Year's, with commercial vehicles being sold. 3 customers there right now looking at bucket trucks, rollbacks, flatbeds. So a lot going on, but thanks guys for the support. Just happened to be driving this one and thought about all the stops and places that these trucks go to get to their final. They'll never be done, but to get to where they're as done as we like to say, hey, this truck's ready to go. So thanks a lot. Cool truck. More to come about it. We'll let you hear it when the exhaust is done. Thanks, guys.